Okay. I think we're good to go.
All right.
Are we ready? Also, I now have the halogen, the intro music.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can fade this in right on top. There we go. And that's where you would go in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, are we doing it now? Or?
I was kind of hoping you would just clue into it, but we're not. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just edit it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know for, well, literally when we record in like an hour.
Yeah. Well, this could also just be the start of the episode.
Okay.
Yeah, we could just start at this. So do you want to do the whole like script thing?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Good morning, afternoon, and or evening, everyone. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us. As always, we are your hosts. I'm Nick.
Filling in for Kyle once again in 2023. I'm Seth.
And I'm John.
And we are three Catholic dudes who love to talk about movies. This is the Genesius podcast. Guys, season 3.
Season 3.
We did it.
Season 3.
We're doing a thing.
6 seasons in a movie. That's a community reference for those of you who are not aware.
Oh, it's been a while since I've watched that show.
Apparently, they're actually going to do a movie.
I'm not surprised.
I don't know if it's actually going to happen. We'll see.
We'll see if Chevy Chase is actually willing to come. Wait.
Yeah.
No, because his character died.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's awkward.
Yeah, that's really awkward.
Spoilers.
The spoilers.
That show's been out for a few years. I think we're fine.
Yeah. But we're trying a couple things differently for this year. We're going to be doing a side podcast as well. We've got a Marvel MCU Infinity Saga podcast. Mm-hmm. And then
technically our franchise podcast, the Infinity Saga, is just what we happen to be starting with.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because we'll eventually do things like Harry Potter. We'll do
Star Wars. We have to do Star Wars.
There's so much to be said about Star Wars.
There's so much visual Star Wars aesthetic.
Hopefully by that time, I will have come to peace with the trauma that I have experienced, and I can speak out without becoming too emotional. About many great things. Many great things indeed. And then eventually, of course, we'll have to do like Lord of the Rings too, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
Although you will not catch me dead doing The Hobbit or The Rings of Power.
Well, I mean, I think The Hobbit would make sense to do, but Rings of Power, we don't have to touch that.
We could only do The Hobbit if we like hate watched it though. At least for me.
Well, okay, there is like a few scenes in The Hobbit that are like really good.
The first movie's not bad, actually. It's the second and third ones where it kind of
Ooh, let's not forget about Indiana Jones, especially with the 5th movie coming this summer.
The last one that John Williams will be composing for.
I know.
Yeah. For like in his career.
Yeah.
Oh, like
that's a good one.
That's the last film he will be doing.
How old is he at this point?
90.
Yeah.
It's a good one to go out on.
Yeah, well,
for sure.
I hope.
That's fair.
I hope.
I mean, we all know what happened with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Crystal Skull did us dirty, my dude.
The movie that should not be named.
We're gonna do the franchise podcast on the side. It'll be shorter episodes.
Hopefully.
You never know.
With us, you never know.
But we're going to keep this mainline podcast going. We're going to do listener requests. We're going to do kind of our own picks as well. Sort of alternate between the two. We'll have more guest hosts.
We've got a really fun year.
It's going to be great. We've already planned out, I think, most of Q1, here, January, March.
We got it planned through like mid-April.
Nice.
I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
Because I looked at my calendar.
Yeah,
and I was like,
because for a franchise podcast, we got all the way through the first Avengers movie.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so
it's going to be, it's good. We've got a good roster.
Yeah. So hopefully what that means is more content for all of you. And actually we're beta testing with this specific recording today. We're testing video. So if you're watching us on YouTube, do we have a YouTube channel?
Should we have it?
We're gonna have a YouTube channel.
We should.
We're gonna have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
If you're watching us on there, hey, this is all of us together in Nick's Lego studio. Nice to meet you face to face.
The displays might change up from time to time as more sets get assembled.
But that makes it fun.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
And if you're not watching it on video, then this experiment failed. And to our dear listeners, I am sorry. I only have so much time.
It's working out pretty well so far.
Well, I have to edit it.
That's fair.
And I'm going to do like a multicam view so I can like cut in on all of us if we're saying something. Right?
Okay.
So I'm going to do a little bit more with it. The multicam editing should be easy once I get the hang of it. I get to learn a new skill. So that'll be cool.
So in a way, you could say that we're more than one dimension now.
Ooh.
All right. I
We're
see what you're
audio
doing here.
and video.
I see what you're doing here. We're AV. We're putting the V in AV
We're doing
this
it.
year. So speaking of multiple dimensions.
I actually wanted to first ask, just a little check-in. How was your guys' holiday?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it was really good.
Yeah.
Mine was pretty good too.
This is standard. Yeah, it was great. Okay.
Well, gentlemen, I think we should salute the holidays and kick off season 3 with a toast. We got this drink here. My brother, shout out to my brother Sam. Shout out to my parents. They brewed this pear cider on Thanksgiving.
It smells so good.
We bottled it on the holidays. So, gentlemen, to season 3.
To season 3.
Genesius podcast. Saint Genesius, pray for us.
Saint Genesius, pray for us.
Ooh,
Oh, baby, that's so good.
that's awesome.
That's so good.
That's nice. That's quite nice. I had a big foam on it when we poured it out too. It was like an actual beer. So yeah, enjoy that, gentlemen.
That's really good.
Compliments to the brew masters, master brewers, master craftsmen at the my parents' house. So
Nice. Way down in St. Louis.
this has become as Catholic as possible. We're drinking homebrew. We're podcasting about movies, and our podcast is titled after a saint, the patron saint of films,
Patron saint of actors.
of actors. Thank you.
I couldn't, it's really funny. I couldn't find a patron saint of movies.
It's
Maybe I
as
didn't
close
look
as
hard
you can
enough.
get, I feel like.
Yeah.
There is a patron saint of television.
Is there really?
Is it Claire of Assisi?
I mean, but Genesius just has a better ring to it.
It does.
Yeah.
Although people mistake it for Genesis, and we're like, no. This is not.
I just say Genesis with a U.
No, that's true.
Actually, though, in fairness, since we did do a stage production, which is not a movie, the actors thing does work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah,
So-
we did a stage production. Actors
Yeah.
works for that too.
And just with Miss the Boat existing, like obviously we're gonna cover that every year.
Yeah. Yep.
We have to.
Well, and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
show they do this year will be really interesting, I think. So I can't remember if they're doing another original show or if they're going to be doing another adaptation. So whichever, it'll be really cool, I'm sure. I'm excited to see what happens. So with that, we should segue into the movie.
We have been joking about doing this movie since the very beginning.
At least the first couple episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I never thought that we would actually be doing it. But we're doing it.
let alone to kick off 2023.
We always fulfill our promises, Nick.
This is true.
We're starting off with a doozy, gentlemen.
And if we're going to introduce it, we might as well.
Yes.
Put on our
3D glasses.
3D glasses. Where's my power up? There we go. Yeah.
Doing
All
this
right.
with
That's kind of hard.
I don't know. I'm not going to wear these the whole time.
Not a chance.
No, but I think for the intro, it's only fitting.
Yes, this is
Spy Kids 3D. Game over.
That's awesome. All right,
coming
take
off.
these off.
Oh, come on.
John's willing to go to distance. We aren't.
I mean, I always have to wear glasses anyway. These are way more uncomfortable.
Well, what I have to do now is I now have to go into that movie and get the glasses on little plate that I can put over the video. And then for just a little bit, I'm gonna like put the whole thing in stereoscopic.
You might give our viewers an aneurysm if you do that.
So that being said, we did all watch it together with the glasses.
Oh
We
my
didn't- We
gosh.
did not watch the 2D version.
Yes, we just watched this
with the really tacky glasses on and
Yeah.
glasses off title cards.
I love that they have an intro. They have an intro to the actual movie, literally
Yep.
explaining to you to put the glasses on when you're when the main
main character puts them on.
And then on top of that, he's like, if you ever get tired, because they tested it.
That's pretty funny.
This joke was ahead of its time.
Yeah, they tested it. And they were sure like people are going to get headaches watching this. Like, so if you ever need to, take off your glasses, go ahead, take them off, rush out to the concession stand, buy a big popcorn, a big soda, and he goes and he finishes off, congratulations, you've just spent $35. And that really, really hurt. Really hurt. So
it's ironic because like if you get popcorn and concessions at theaters nowadays, it's not even that expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive, but it's not
far off,
$35
like.
expensive. No, we're on that slippery slope there.
that's true.
But not today.
We're getting close. $35 will get you a large popcorn soda and your ticket.
That's a good point.
And that's it. Really. I mean, so he's close. He's 2/3 of the way there.
I bought movie tickets recently for Quantumania.
Oh, you pre-ordered?
Oh.
When does it come out?
Less than a month.
Oh, jeez.
My some
New
of my
Faye is coming up.
Wow.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. I'm so hyped. Some buddies and I were doing a Marvel fantasy draft, and we are going as a group to Quantumania opening night.
So okay, what is a fantasy draft?
So you know how fantasy football works, right?
Yeah.
It's basically exactly like that, except you gain and lose points with like if a character appears or if it's a cameo or a variant, and then you can lose points if like the character dies or like they kill somebody. And then one of the funny things is it's like, you know how there's like the Hail Mary pass? Well, in this draft, you get 10 Hail Hydra points. if a character that hasn't appeared yet shows up in anything.
Wow.
It's really cool.
That's a really interesting concept. I don't know if it's for me.
I mean, I've never done fantasy football, but I heard this on another podcast. I heard this Marvel draft on a podcast. I'm like, I should do this. This sounds really fun. So I got a few guys together and we're doing it. We've got our draft already done.
Yeah.
We did that a couple weeks ago.
Who's your top hitter?
Oh, so we got. Let me see.
We're really deviating now. Nick's off screen looking at his laptop.
Well,
what are we? How do we get?
I mean, it's probably because of the Marvel
we made it less than 15 minutes before Marvel entered the chat.
Well, both me and Nick are wearing our Marvel
on my draft. So my draft picks are Scott Lang, Adam Warlock, Jimmy Woo, Cassie Lang, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Riri Williams, The Watcher, Ravonna Renslayer, Shang-Chi, Natasha Romanoff, and my Hail Hydra pick is the Silver Surfer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Romanoff is like dead, isn't she?
You get mention points too.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyway,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So we're gonna deviate back here. Nick, lay down some stats here. For
All right. So
Spy Kids 3D Game Over.
So we are talking about Spy Kids 3D Game Over. Directed by Robert Rodriguez. Written by Robert Rodriguez.
Photography directed by Robert Rodriguez, apparently. Explains a lot.
It was like the sole purpose for this movie.
I died in my soul a little bit when I saw that. I'm not going to lie.
I died a little bit in my soul when I was watching this movie.
There was a point where I'm like,
it's got high entertainment value, but man, this movie is bad.
You guys can vouch for this. About halfway through the movie, you just heard me mutter, "I need my whiskey." and
you didn't. Was it an empty bottle too?
It had like one sip left. It was like one of those mini shot bottles, and it was just like had just like trickle left. It was enough.
So you pointed out this guy has also done something else that
yeah, he's
recent.
He is responsible for the Book of Boba Fett.
Seth's all-time favorite show.
Yep.
God.
Okay, but in fairness, the Robert Rodriguez episode of The Mandalorian, where like Boba's intro, that episode was really good.
Yeah.
Like it was one of the best episodes in The Mandalorian.
And then
the Mando.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
He
His
wasn't
Mandalorian
referring
episodes.
to the Mandalorian episodes in Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, yes, those
Other way around.
those were good. Those were good.
No, I am specifically talking about the episode in the Mandalorian, like the show The Mandalorian, where Boba Fett made his real return.
Yes, those were good.
That was very good.
Those were good.
Anyway, we know that Science 3D is not the greatest movie, so we talk about it.
For the viewers.
John's over here like peace, Mercutio, you know. But yeah, so how
Boba
much?
Fett, baby.
When was this released, Nick? Oh my gosh, he's got the Slave 1 Lego. Yeah, that thing is epic.
It is quite cool. Anyway, it came out on July 25th, 2003, with a budget of $38 million and a box office of $197 million.
That hurts.
Yeah.
How on earth did there was previous movies we had where it was like they actually lost money? How did this movie make so much money?
Well, I think both the critics and the audiences would agree, according to Rotten Tomatoes, because the critic score on RT was 45% and the audience score was 25.
The only credit I would give is that it clearly, while watching this movie, you can tell it has kids are the intended audience. I don't know.
Yeah.
13 and below.
Yeah, you've got some really interesting supporting cast members in here.
This is shockingly star-studded.
Yeah, you got George Clooney.
But the production value does not live up to the star-studdedness.
No. You got George Clooney. You got George Clooney of many, many movies. You have Sylvester Stallone. You have George Clooney doing Sylvester Stallone impression.
It's actually a pretty good impression.
It's good, but I love it. The blooper at the end, which happens to be, it looks like the actual take. And at the end of it, he just breaks and he goes, I think that's the end of my career. It was hilarious to watch.
Again, I'm surprised Batman and Robin wasn't the end of his career.
Yeah. And we also had Ricardo Montalban, who is well known, for among other things, for being Khan. How did that not peak the board? Yes.
I was not going full volume.
That specific movie.
That's a good point. That Khan. And the original Khan, not the J.J. Abrams Khan. Sorry, Cumberbatch.
The Cumberbatch Khan was cool, though.
It was cool.
It was cool.
It's cool. It's not Ricardo Montalban.
Those movies went a little off the wagon when they went to Beyond, but
it was an alternate timeline.
Yeah. Beyond was fun though. I had a good time.
Yeah, Star Trek Beyond. We'll cover those eventually.
Yes.
All of Star Trek.
Maybe not the series, but the movies.
Anyway.
The Abrams movies. I think we could cover. There's only 3 so
There's
far.
only 3.
Yeah. And then we could maybe cherry pick some of the others, but
I like the original Star Trek movies, not the motion picture, but the ones after that.
I don't think I've seen those.
The general rule is the even numbered movies are good. The odd number movies are either mediocre or bad.
You didn't like the Search for Spock?
What?
Search for Spock, isn't that?
Search for Spock was decent,
okay,
from what I understand.
But Voyage Home was probably the better.
Voyage Home was the better one. And then also when it comes to the next generation ones, Star Trek Generations, not great. First Contact, fantastic. Actually, my favorite. And then Insurrections, and then Nemesis, which was an actual pile of garbage. Unfortunately. But
we know where he would rate that.
All I'm saying is Jonathan Frakes just needs, I'm sure he's been doing a lot of the new Trek, but he just needs to be in charge of more stuff. So, yeah. I'm going to hold my peace there.
We'll get there when we get there.
We will. What's the USCCB consensus?
All right. So, and when I was looking up, I was actually kind of surprised that the USCCB even had a consensus for this movie.
Yeah, it seems kind of obscure.
I was surprised.
I was shocked, and I'm like, all right.
What does the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops have to say about Spy Kids 3D Game Over, Nick?
Flat kitty actioner, which finds junior agent Junie Cortez, played by Daryl Sabara, entering a 3D video game in order to save his sister, Carmen, played by Alexa Vega, from a diabolical menace known as the Toymaker, played by Sylvester Stallone, bent on taking over the world's youth through a video game that controls their minds. Despite a positive message about family and forgiveness, and some inventive visuals. Like, that's one word for
That
it.
is a word.
The movie is 3D, as in dull, dumb, and disappointing. I died laughing when I read this. I'm like,
Let the sinless one cast the first stone, my good friends.
Can I just say I'm so glad we're video recording this reaction.
That sounds like the most aggressive thing that the USCCB
So
can say.
good. Oh, it's so good. It's so funny though.
Bro, they didn't hold back.
No, they didn't. I think we need an applause track just for that inventiveness.
That does deserve it. Where is it? Yeah, that's well deserved.
That was yes.
That was fantastic. But yeah,
USCCB Office for Film and Broadcasting classification is A2 for adults and adolescents.
alrighty. Wow,
Dull, dumb, and disappointing.
that is
Savage.
So I mean, if it goes to say that this movie is quite different than the movies that we've done before.
just like, bro, stop. It's already dead.
There's a reason. There is a reason we joked about doing this movie.
Yeah, we were not disappointed. We had a great time watching.
So fun.
So, are we ready to get into the plot?
Let's get into
synopsis here. Okay, I'm going to do my best to paraphrase because IMDb did not have a good synopsis for this film. So
Yeah,
They pretty much just gave like a paragraph.
yeah. And
These listeners and viewers, if you're watching, these are we are increasing our efforts to make sure that we shorten the plot summary as much as we can, whilst not really like leaving anything out.
so some stuff happened and a person got forgiven, and yeah, we're good.
Oh, sounds great.
Yeah. All right. No. All right. So you got Junie Cortez, who is Kid Spy. I guess after the second film, there's a little intro storybook thing. Junie gets betrayed.
I love how we have a franchise podcast, and yet our season premiere is a threequel when we haven't done the other two movies.
We're not going to do the other two.
I didn't say we should.
There's definitely some callbacks.
But it was with the flip book with the thumbling, right?
Yeah.
Really weird looking.
I cringed.
That was weird.
Hard.
Yeah.
That's
So
really weird.
Junie Cortez, I guess, was in the last film betrayed by the OSS, which is the secret spy. I'm sure the acronym means something. I don't care. And so he retires and he's working as a PI, Junie Cortez PI, on like a tiny salary. He's trying to save up for this video game. Can't save up for it. And so everyone's telling him he needs to go back to the spy business. And he's like, nah, man, I've been burned. And so he's not going to go back. And finally, the president.
It's like he's burn notice or something.
What?
He's like the burn notice.
Oh, yeah.
But like kid burn.
So some girl, I guess from the last film or two, flies in on her like helicopter pigtails and tells him that, you know, everyone's family, he should come back.
I still think that is more ridiculous than the Inquisitor's helicopter lightsabers.
Here's the funny part.
And that's pretty ridiculous.
Yes, and the funny part to me was that the line she gives him about everyone being family, and then she flies away on her pigtails again, and Junie says that makes no sense. And he's saying it about the line, and for a second, I heard it as him looking at the pigtails.
That's
and saying,
what
that
I
makes
thought he
no
was
sense."
talking about.
It took me a second to
It's
realize
just a
that.
meta quote.
It took me a second to realize there's actual dialogue in this film.
This movie got pretty meta
Yeah.
a lot.
It really, even though it's clearly inspired by like Tron and The Matrix, it's clearly, you know, prophetic in some ways.
amongst other things.
You start in an abandoned water park. Hello, anyone? Ronavirus? Anyone?
True. No, they're just like, why is there no water in my water park? Because it's fall.
Because it's
no
winter.
Sherlock. That's what happens.
Seth has to not believe
I have to bleep that out. Sorry. Where's the censor button? Oh, there it is. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so he's retired. Everyone's telling him he needs to join. The president tells him he needs to join. And Junie's still like, no, Mr. President. Screw off, Mr. President.
That was pretty good though. Like George Clooney was like, I was running the country, but now I just decided to
I
be
love
the
he's like,
president.
I was running the country, but I was the head of a secret.
George Clooney 2024.
That was actually really funny. I was running the country, but I was part of a secret organization. So I became president, and now I'm actually running the country. So yeah, he convinces Junie to come back. It's like, hey, your sister's missing. We need your help. And so, of course, you mentioned the fam, and Junie's got to get involved. So he comes back and, gets set up. Basically, they explain to him that this big virtual reality video game called Game Over. I think it's called Game Over.
Yeah.
Yes, yep.
It's literally called Game Over.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because it's the game to end all games, Nick.
It is the game to end. It should
Then
be.
they might as well just have called it End Game.
There's something that should.
For our listeners, I didn't actually swear. I just wanted to press the button.
I think the viewers will get the idea.
The viewers will get the idea. So yeah, anyway, he comes back in. They explain to him that this whole game is a ploy by the toy maker, played by Sylvester Stallone, who is essentially somehow plotting to take over kids' minds and take over the world. And, all of this was later done again in other franchises, et cetera, et cetera. And so they're like, Junie, you got to go in, you got to shut this game down, but don't let the toy maker out, because the toy maker is like Tron style trapped in cyberspace. And they're like, you gotta go shut down the game without releasing the toy maker and rescue your sister, who is physically still with the OSS, but her mind is in the game and lost, and she's a prisoner of the toy maker. So Junie puts on the 3D glasses. Glasses on, everyone. Gentlemen, please put on your glasses. Gotta hit the old charge up sound effects. Yeah.
This is still jarring.
It's hard to put them on
with the headphones.
I can kind of read. And so, yeah, he goes into this game. He's on level 1. Weird things happen. He goes to what's supposed to be some beta testers tell him to go to the way to level 2, but it's not level 2. It's a big mech fighting thing. And he meets this girl, and she's obviously supposed to be the love interest.
Forget about the frog.
The pogo frogs.
The pogo frogs.
Yeah, pogo frogs are a thing.
Can I also just point out some of the worst CGI I've ever seen?
It was 2003.
You have to,
but Star Wars Attack of the Clones came out the year before, and that CGI was miles better than what we saw in this movie.
He's got a point. They later used the same shooting technique in The Hobbit, where they just shot everything in a green screen studio. So that's why it looks the way it does.
How far we have fallen.
Yeah, or rather, what we haven't learned.
Touche.
So anyway, they tell him how to get off of level 1. Oh, also he gets dropped at one point and loses his life, and the narrator of the game, who's basically just the toy maker because he couldn't be bothered to hire other voice actors, explains to him that he has 9 lives, and if he loses all of his lives, it's game over.
The whole rules for how you lose a life.
It doesn't make any sense.
No sense.
It's a little, when the writers want you to lose a life, it's basically like The Walking Dead.
Or half.
Yes. It's
That was
no.
I was like, are you serious?
Minecraft took a note from that later on.
Did they really?
Yeah, you can get a half heart. There's actually a whole meme about being a half heart warrior, where you lose all but one half heart.
Please tell me it originated from this movie.
I don't think it did, but it's still funny. So in any event, he gets explained the whole game. He gets boosted up. He finds the same beta testers who dunked him again. And they tell him how to get off of level 1, and they send him to a mech arena where he fights this girl that's obviously supposed to be the love interest. And they have a big battle, and somehow Junie wins. I don't know I know how he wins. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not. He
goes from not being able to do anything whatsoever to being the best fighter.
But come on, the way in which he wins, he just literally runs circles around the other mech.
Yeah. And when he lost, he only lost 1 life. Where she lost, she loses 4 lives. Or whatever.
Yeah, I think she lost 2
this
or
movie
3.
made. I mean the way the kids sit on their mechs made just as much sense as the rest of the movie.
So okay.
So not a whole lot.
I think about with this movie. Sorry for getting sidetracked from this, but
we do that.
I look at it as how does a kid make a game, right? And they make rules for the game, and then they constantly change the rules of the game.
I think that's symbolic of the fact that the toy maker has not matured emotionally, and so he's constantly shifting the rules. There's some deep stuff in this movie, guys. It's meta. I need to unlock my phone. We've waited way too. I don't think Face ID
it's
works.
about life.
Apple, I'm complaining that Face ID does not work with these glasses. All right. So he wins the mech fight. He gets sent to actual level 2. And as he steps on, there's like this big billboard behind him with the outline of the character that's on the game case. And he fits into it almost perfectly. Like pretty close. I don't think it's
Did we miss the cat joke?
He's the guy.
Oh, yeah, there's a cat joke too. Because there's a cat in the water park, right?
Oh, it's in the tree.
No,
Yeah,
it was in the
tree.
tree.
Yeah.
It was one of his. Anyway.
Oh, he's lining it up for me. Okay.
So a cat gets stuck in a
Okay.
tree.
Yeah, cat got stuck in a tree.
Meow. There you go.
That is the most forced.
And this is coming from the guy who forced this joke in quite a bit last season.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah,
Because it worked.
So Junie steps into level 2. He fits this outline of the guy, and suddenly the beta testers are like, "Bro," at least one of them is like, "Bro, he's the guy." And one of them was like, "No, he's not the guy." He's like, "No, dude, he's the guy." And they explain to the guy, Junie, what the guy is, and Junie's like, "Bro, I'm just looking for my sister. Like, I'm not here. I'm not here for that." And they're like, "No, you're like basically the Jesus of this game. You know, he's the one."
He's the savior.
Yeah, it's clearly a parody of the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
He is the one. And so he's like, "Guys, I'm telling you, I'm not the one." But the beta testers are arguing. By the way, one of the names.
You completely So when he gets shot to the moon
Yeah.
before that test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
his
my
grandpa.
gosh. Oh, okay. So I'm going to jump back here a little bit. I'm sorry, viewers. I really screwed this up. When he lands on the moon for that mech fight, because that's where he ends up on the moon for the mech fight. The OSS sends him a Zoom call, and they're like, "Yo, you can bring in one person to help you out." And
he checks out all of his relatives.
I love how it describes like knows karate, superior tactical mind, knows karate.
They all have the same stats, and he's like,
But he goes back to Grandpa, and there's some mumbo jumbo about the fact that like since Grandpa's in a wheelchair, like the life force from his legs basically doubles the strength of the rest.
Which
of the
last I checked, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
he's basically like Daredevil in the sense of like once one ability is lost, all the other abilities go way up, and you're just like, wait, but like.
It doesn't apply with
Otherwise,
paralysis.
like everyone that is in a wheelchair would be like superhuman.
Yeah,
that would be dope, actually.
Well, and the game's one-liner for Grandpa is strategic. Basically, calls him strategic, which makes sense because Grandpa has his own motives. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that later. So Grandpa joins him, and then this little power-up appears called Mega Legs, and Junie sends it over to Grandpa, and Grandpa steps out of the wheelchair.
He basically gets an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, he becomes Iron Man. He's Mega Man. He's really cool. And he gets distracted by a butterfly and chases it. And he's like, Junie, you go on. Junie has the whole mech fight.
This was so stupid.
He gets to level 2. Also, like, you've seen such like strange acting from everyone in the movie. And then like Ricardo Montalban comes on and he's
crushing it.
He's charisma. He is charisma.
The only charismatic thing in the movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
Did you refer to like, so they're trying to get to level 5?
Yes.
It's considered like the unbeatable level.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to get.
So level 2.
Yeah, so they get to level 2. Junie's like, I'm not the guy. And then one of the beta testers is like, he is the guy. And one of the other beta testers is like, he's not the guy. And so they decide to go on this big race, this big Mario Kart.
Still can't
race.
believe this was in theaters.
And they all get in these carts.
It reminded me of like the old cartoon show where it's like each of them has like different, like, I don't know. There was like a cartoon where they're each in different cars and they're like complete group of cars. I don't know. Whatever. It's like super old. It's like,
isn't that Mario Kart? It's basically Mario Kart.
It's basically Mario Kart. Whatever.
Something like that. Yeah. So they go on this big race. And the long short of it is there's like this big mystery driver who's throwing a wrench in things as they go along. And they get all the way to the end of the race. Grandpa's helping Junie out. It's a big nonsensical sequence. People are losing lives everywhere. How many lives they lose depends, and it doesn't matter how.
It depends on what the story demands.
Yeah, one guy gets knocked off his bike, and as he's flying off the stage, blip, 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 like, and then meanwhile, Junie gets hit once and loses 2 lives, and then whatever. So none of that makes sense. I'm not going to dwell on it.
He slides over the finish line.
He slides over the finish line.
Like Christmas Vacation.
I was gonna say he slid over the line Chevy Chase style, as if he was in Christmas Vacation.
That might have been a legitimate reference, actually.
I would actually love that, to be honest, because that movie is funny.
And yeah, so he slides across the finish line, and everyone's like, and suddenly, like, he goes from being completely lacking in confidence during the race to afterwards he's won and he thinks he's hot stuff. So he's like, yeah, bro, I'm the guy, you know, for some reason. And so eventually Grandpa comes out and he's like, yo, like, we got to keep going. But Grandpa kind of makes it clear that he's there to confront the toy maker for whatever reason. Because the toy maker is the one who
ruined his life, basically.
By making paralyzing him from the waist down, and basically making him use a wheelchair. And so Grandpa's motives are kind of set, and he's like, we should just keep going. And Junie's like, we're going to talk about this later. I'm trying to find my sister. Mystery driver from the race is the girl that Junie fought in the mech battle. Her name's Demetra.
He didn't just fight with her.
Yeah, he flirted a little bit. Did the eyebrows, was it? Yeah, the eyebrows. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see what these glasses are.
Listeners,
hang on.
Yeah. These are giving me a headache. I got to take them off.
Are you going to go buy some
I'm gonna
concessions?
I'm going to drink some cider. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So, yeah. Everyone's kind of like, all right, we're going to work together. Cool. All the meanwhile, right, the toy maker kind of sprinkled throughout the movie has these little moments where he's essentially literally talking to himself.
Reminded me of Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, it was very strange. He's got like 3 different personas of himself. One of them I'm pretty sure is like the Kaiser Wilhelm sort of counterpart that is just like destroy everything.
One was a hippie.
One was a hippie, and the other was, can we even remember him? What was he doing?
I think that shows the quality of this movie.
Yeah.
It was the scientist one.
Oh, the scientist.
That's right.
Yeah. The scientist who's more like utilitarian kind of thing. And so he's kind of having these little dialogues throughout the movie to influence events. And basically every time, what I don't understand is that every time he's having these dialogues, it just ends the same way. He's like, y'all are talking to me and y'all have suggestions, but I'm me and y'all don't matter. And then he shuts them down. And then they're just back again in the next scene.
I imagine he's like, just sits there by himself and it's just like, you know what? Sure, I'll talk to them again.
Yeah.
He just wants some fun.
Yeah, when he's finally bored, he's like, all right, power it up again, you know? And so he just turns it back on. He's
But
like,
it's gotta be so ridiculous to have to be that actor in that case. Because it's just a green screen. You're talking to nobody. You're talking to your other self.
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right, so they get through level 2, which is the race. And then
and then it's 3 with the programmers.
3 is 3 the programmers?
Yes, that sounds right.
They finish this whole race and they go through, and at this point,
we watched this movie 2 hours ago and we already can't remember what happened.
It's a bad movie.
But yeah, it's the weird like floating things like where he's like, oh, you can't split up. It's like a horror movie or whatever. We all have to stick together, and then
they
leaves.
all split up.
Yeah. Junie even calls him on it. He's like, guys, you can't do this.
Even his grandpa.
But anyway, the actual programmers show up, but they've got their little hollow models, and Grandpa kind of reveals them to be, you know, just regular programmer dudes who look like stereotypical like programmer people. You know, the stereotype of like the white coat and, you know, the glasses, and
tucked in really tightly polo shirt,
receding hairlines, et cetera, et cetera. But they're like, for some reason, dressed like early 2000s, like punk hip hop band
You know, I
members.
think the reason they were dressed like early 2000s punk stars is because this movie was from the early 2000s.
Yeah,
it
checks
definitely
out.
shows its age in the style of
It's just
just the clothes that like the kid was even wearing. It was like, oh my gosh,
The turtleneck, the high
the big
turtleneck.
and then like this the necklace.
It looked so bad.
Yeah.
We made some terrible choices back in the day for
Well,
fashion.
and like all the women were wearing like the chokers and like had the pigtails or whatever.
forgot
It
that
was just
was
like, oh my
pigtails
gosh.
show up quite a bit in this movie.
Except listeners and viewers, if you do pigtails, you're probably not flying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
That'd be hard.
Wasn't it Salma Hayek? Right? Isn't that her name?
Emily Osment, who was the girl with the pigtails?
The older woman.
I don't know.
That was not Salma Hayek.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, it was weird to see an older woman with pigtails.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And so they get to level 3. Grandpa shows up, basically scares off the programmers. And then for some reason, Demetra has a map of the game, which is this nice little animated hologram that she basically tells him, like, we're gonna go through this and go under this and then go through Lava Mountain, and then we'll be at level 5.
Which would have been nice, a couple levels ago.
Yeah. And the whole point of level 5 is that it's unwinnable. So they're going to try and win it. Of course. And so at a certain point, they're walking along and the toy maker's like, you know what? Why not? Like, because he intentionally allowed Grandpa to come into the game because he wants to be confronted by Grandpa, because he knows Grandpa's going to release him back into the real world where he can take over the world. And so he's kind of baiting all of this to go along. And so he decides to give Junie a gift, a life pack. And so, are we really already like almost all the way through the movie?
It's a short movie.
Yeah.
And so this little health pack comes along, and Junie, in a fit of like, puppy love, kind of gives it to Demetra, since she has had her lives just like mostly destroyed by Junie. And so he kind of pays her back, and everyone's just like, oh, cool, I guess.
This is also where they do that like staff fighting.
Yeah, they have the staff fight, and so like pick your best person. And what?
Oh,
that is Salma Hayek.
Totally right.
I take it back. That was indeed
No
Salma
way.
Hayek.
That was Salma Hayek. Interesting.
Anyway.
Okay. Good research, John.
Nice job.
Yeah, that was good. I'll give you the fist bump. That's pretty good. All right, so they get to this big platform fight, and they don't walk into it knowing it's a platform fight. The game is just like, choose your best player, and they're like, well, that's the guy. So Junie, get up there. Junie goes up, and they're like, choose your strongest player, and they pick the kid who looks like the runt of the pack, but is in fact like the tank, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't cool. He wasn't cool.
He wasn't cool.
Cool.
What's that from?
It's from this movie.
It's from this movie?
Yeah.
I've already forgotten.
We joked about this for 5 minutes.
Cool is a word that goes in other movies.
No, because like they had the guy that's like, oh, I'm strong.
Yeah.
I've got brains. And the guy's just like,
I'm cool. Oh, that's right. Yeah. It wasn't cool.
It seemed like, okay. It seemed like middle schoolers like looking up to like a high schooler, like, oh, he's cool.
Yeah.
He's in high school.
By the way, the guy that says cool is not the one that goes out.
no, I understand
yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like,
I was saying he wasn't
remember,
cool.
Each of them like brought something to the team.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
yeah.
I'm strong. I'm smart. I'm cool. You're like,
Yeah,
really?
my strength, my brains, my cool, and Demetra's like my intuition. Yeah, the eyebrow thing too. And so I remember that line actually cracked me up as a kid for whatever reason.
It cracked me up today. It was so bad.
So yeah, they go to this fighting game. The small kid who's actually like the tank goes out, and they're like, Junie's like, I don't want to fight this kid, and the kid was like, I don't want to crush Junie. He already knows it's gonna happen, and they're like, you got to do it. And literally right before this scene, right at the start of this scene, they establish some characterization for this kid. He comes from a poor family.
You know literally nothing about him until the
Yeah. Once he takes off the little headset thing, you're like, all right, he's getting real. And he's like, my family's poor. I want to beat level 5 and get to the untold riches that apparently have been advertised to be at the end of this game, even though there's no promise of what exactly it is.
That, getting a little real for a second, like that's a real battle that we face today. That's temptation, man.
But this movie sucks, so we're going to move on.
But the only thing is like, so wasn't this game really expensive, right?
Yeah, I think it was like super expensive.
Anyway, it's like, how did he get the money to like,
It was like $60, right? Just like a normal AAA title today.
That's so expensive.
I don't know if it was $60, but I feel like it would be $60.
That was like such a cheesy, with like the whole like piggy banks, and then he like trips over. He's like, no.
It didn't even look like
crash,
it looked like I'm
Also-
surprised it broke. That thing looked like it could bounce.
What kind of secret agent stores their money in a freaking piggy bank?
and then brings the
Spy
piggy bank
Kid.
with them.
Like, how do you do direct deposit if you're getting paid, man? You're a secret agent. How do you get paid?
He's
at
also
McDonald's?
he's also a child.
He was also charging $4.99 per session.
But he's got to be. He had to have been making a paycheck as an agent. What was he like? What was his general schedule? Right? What pay grade was he?
I don't know.
Child labor.
Child. You're a secret
Probably.
agent. If you do your job, we won't kill you.
But remember,
Wow.
once an agent, always an agent.
Yeah, as
You
George
can't
Clooney says,
leave.
once an agent, always an agent.
He's like, I'm retired.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Retired at age. How old is he?
He's gotta be like 10 or something.
Yeah, like holy crap.
Well, Helicopter Pigtails was clearly younger than him.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, he fights the big dude and the big quote unquote dude, the tank. And the tank is beating the crap out of him until the very last second, until Demetra decides to trade out.
Well, this is the whole point where he goes down to half a life.
Yeah, he goes down to half a life.
Oh, good
He gets beaten within half a heart. And then Demetra
So stupid.
Demetra swaps out, and despite having gained all of her 9 lives back, the tank just kind of like stabs at her platform and destroys it. Like,
Yeah,
true,
she dies in one hit.
True,
versus like
like-
before he got hit like 6
Yeah.
times or whatever. And it was like, it was so stupid.
If you've ever played Minecraft, you'll know what the game Spleef is. It's basically where you just try and like dig out the floor underneath your opponents, and so you're in a big arena. That's literally what just happened in this. Is where he's like punches out the platform. That's a little bit of my Minecraft history.
Completely waste of his kit.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway.
Two of the three of us, by the way, are gamers, so we know what real games look like.
Yeah.
At least the games that came after this movie. And Nick leans out of frame. But
Anyway.
you can lean back in. It's fine. Do you play games? Have you
Like
played-
video games?
Yeah. Have you
Well, you
played
said
games?
Mario Kart.
I have played video games. I am not a gamer.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay.
I'm sorry, buddy.
But
I thought I had a friend.
I would say I would say though, like in
kidding. I'm
some regard, some of the stuff in this movie was similar to video games of that time.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
well, the level design is crap.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, so after this fight, they
Demetra dies. Game over. Junie is upset because puppy love. And his grandfather says something to him. I can't exactly. We were laughing through it.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, and so we go off to level 4, and the toy maker decides at this point that he wants to put Carmen back in the game, so that because like her purpose has been served, and now it's just the final push to that last
So
level.
he's basically trying to get them to get past level 5 so that he can get released. So he's
Well-
helping him along the way.
Yeah, he wants the grandfather to release like there's some button or Super Mario thing that he has to do to release the toy maker.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And so they get to level 4, and Junie is trying to communicate telepathically with Carmen. I'm pretty sure that's a callback. They must have gotten that in a previous movie or something.
Yeah, that threw me off.
Well, don't you know all siblings can do that?
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't know if I'd want that superpower.
You really wouldn't.
No.
And so they get to level 4, and the toy maker puts Carmen back in the game. So she just kind of appears for whatever reason. I'm right here. Because like he's trying to communicate telepathically, and she's responding with her real voice. And then the music cues in. It's this big camera sweep and a dramatic whatever. Carmen's back.
Yep.
Like the wind is like blowing her hair and all that.
Yeah. So she starts sassing the other beta testers on Junie's party, and they're just kind of all like smitten puppy love for her. It becomes pretty obvious after a little while.
Oh, you didn't get to the main part though.
What?
That he gave
Oh,
her his email address.
yeah. So
Oh my God.
Demetra dies in the game, gets game over,
I'm
and
so
Junie's
glad-
that
I'm
was
so
what he
glad you
said
brought that
after
up.
that.
and Junie's like, I didn't even either give her or get her
He's like-
email address.
I didn't even get her email address.
Yeah.
So
Because that's obviously, I'll email you later. Girl, can I have your address? It's bad.
I don't know. I mean, when I was in like, it was either like middle school or high school. Like, I remember I was, quote unquote, texting this girl that I was interested in, and we actually emailed each other back and forth because
I was gonna say
neither
like,
of us had phones.
before you had a phone. I mean, it makes sense for like little kids, but
20 years later, that it's funny.
The Genesius podcast does not endorse asking for somebody's email address.
No, we do not.
What's our email address, Nick?
GenesiusPodcast@gmail.com.
There we go.
We will
Yeah,
plug
Mark,
it.
Send us an email.
We will replug that at the end of the show.
Gosh.
Anyway.
So continuing on. Look, it seemed appropriate.
It did.
And so they go to Lava Mountain and they get to this big cliff and they're in this giant terrain and it doesn't occur to them to like walk around. They're like, no, the lava must be the way in. But we
No,
don't
they try to go the other direction and then the Tinkerbots come out and chase them back
The
into
Tinker
lava.
Toys.
Yeah.
Tinker Toys.
So the
yeah.
toy maker puts the Tinker Toys in to force them into
Those were not Tinker Toys.
the lava.
But then you have this
Those
whole
were
like
not Tinker Toys.
surfing thing going on.
Yeah, they have a whole surfing level
through the lava. and
through the lava, and then the OSS decide to hack in a big lava monster because they realize the connection between Grandpa and the toy maker, and they're like, we got to get him out. Which also seems counterproductive to their goals. Like, they made it this far. Just let them complete the mission. Like, deal with the consequences later. Otherwise, the toy maker's taking over the world.
well, because the main mission was to get Carmen out, right?
Yes, and that's done.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the main mission was to stop the toy maker and rescue Carmen in the process. But anyway, objective complete. And the OSS tries to basically hack in a lava monster. And the toy maker counters by making the lava cold. And so they fall into the lava, but they don't receive a game over. They just kind of like swim over to where the level 5 entrance is. And they're all there. And at this point, the beta testers kind of turn on Junie and Carmen because there's apparently in the game manual, along with the guy, there's also the deceiver, who is supposed to lead them astray and lead them all to their ultimate demise.
Mm-hmm.
And so they think that Carmen and Junie are the deceiver. They're about to make some stuff happen because Grandpa's disappeared at this point. And then suddenly there's a flash of light and in steps Frodo Baggins, aka Elijah Wood,
The guy.
who is
The guy.
the real guy. And he gives them all like a serious pep talk. I mean, like they go down on one knee. Like it's
Like they're being knighted or something.
it's intense. And Frodo, the guy is like, there's nothing we can't do if we stick together, like, and cover each other's backs. And so he stands up, tells them all to step aside, and then like destroys the door to level 5, walks in, and immediately gets zapped and dies.
He had 99 levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oops.
He says oops, which is a whole recurring
No.
motif.
It's 99 down to, again,
0.5.
0.5. Oops.
Well, we can't say that they aren't consistent. They know
Actually,
that.
we can say they're not consistent.
That's true, yeah. Based on how people do this
I don't know. Okay. Watching this in the theaters when I was a little kid, it was right after Lord of the Rings came out. So I was just like, I actually thought that scene was really cool.
Yeah, I recognized it too. I was like, bro.
Frodo Baggins in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, it's Frodo Baggins.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little cheaper than Junie's, though, if I'm being real.
I'll say.
It was just like a regular body suit with a couple pieces on. They probably had a couple extras from
that
when.
at least was safer than the mech suits that Junie fought in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the other interesting thing is that if you look at, and we can check this later, if you look at the guy's suit, like the real guy's suit.
Oh no.
And you look at Junie's suit, right? It's pretty clear that they had some spares of Junie's suit, and they're just like, just take the top half of it and make a suit for Elijah, you know? And so that's what happened. But anyway, he blasts the door open, he goes in, he dies. And so they're all like, no. And Rez, one of the beta testers, goes back to Junie. He's like, all right, so you're the guy again. And then who shows up again but Demetra, who is just like, I found a quote unquote glitch. And Carmen's like, who this girl? And Junie's like, that's my girlfriend, friend.
I think she used the word girlfriend.
I can't remember.
Well, anyway.
But Junie was probably like, hey, she's cool.
Cool. Eyebrows and all. Carmen says no, she's fake. Swipes her hand through Demetra. Turns out, yeah, Demetra's a hologram. Because that's like the ultimate catfish, too. Like, that's just weird.
This movie was way more ahead of its time than I was expecting.
So the thing is, like, so he calls her his girlfriend, and they haven't even like he never even noticed that she was on there.
He didn't even get her email address.
I was gonna say that. They didn't even exchange
ridiculous.
emails.
Mm-hmm. How can he say like that?
They didn't even
his girlfriend.
I guess give each other a high five. Otherwise, he wouldn't know.
Yeah, that plan was really bad if you think about it. So, yeah, it's discovered that it's all a ruse, and then these big metal robots are about to take them all. But Grandpa's like, "Hey, I found an exit." So everyone goes to the exit, and they all leave the game. All the beta testers are clear, like hand a piece of paper to Carl. Like, here's our email addresses. If you need them.
Oh, that
So weird.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, A is where they're giving email addresses, but B, all of them?
Also, who's that guy that she calls in at the end of the movie? Isn't he like her boyfriend? Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
Cousin?
I got that vibe.
I don't know
Anyway.
quite what it is, but anyway, they all leave, and it's just Junie and Grandpa. And Grandpa's like, I don't want to leave, but I will leave as long as you promise not to treat me like a disabled old man and like actually look at me the way you look at me in this game.
I mean, you shouldn't treat your grandparents like that at all.
It's terrible writing, but it's actually a really cool monologue, and it's delivered by Khan, and it's really good. So
I think that is actually a good point, though.
yeah, of just like treating people who have like any kind of disabilities, like they're people.
They're
too
still
with
people.
hopes and dreams and aspirations, and
Like, don't cancel out completely, but like, they're still people. God still loves them.
Yeah.
very much. And so they finally leave the game. And as they leave, Grandpa's getting wheeled out in his wheelchair, and he makes the comment of like, "Don't touch this wheelchair. This is, Corinthian leather."
Oh gosh.
Which I busted out laughing because this past Christmas I was at home. We were bottling this cider that we're drinking right now, and a music track came out called Corinthian Leather that is supposed to be inspired by the fact that Ricardo Montalban, who plays Grandpa, did commercials where he would talk about the Corinthian leather in a new Chrysler car or whatever, the Corinthian leather. So I thought it was hilarious. But anyway, they finish up the game, and everyone realizes that Grandpa released the toy maker.
Oh, yeah, because the switches are you can kill the game or you can release the toy maker are right next to each other.
Yeah.
What is Grandpa
And
going to do?
Grandpa says he did both. He shut the game down and he released the toy maker. And so they're like,
Convenient that those were the only two options.
yeah. So Junie and Carmen go outside, and they put on their glasses again.
Here we go again.
So that they can fight these robots, because apparently the robots still require the glasses to be visible. Although I think the damage being done to public and private property would indicate enough where they are. Just look for the giant footprint, guys. You don't have to wear these. They give you a headache. And so they call in family.
But that was the best part or one of the best parts where George Clooney accesses.
Oh, yeah,
because
because
they don't know that he's actually
the president comes back on, and it's George Clooney, aka the president, sliding into this Sylvester Stallone toy maker impression, and then it's revealed that it is the toy maker, and it has been the toy maker all along. And so that set this whole thing up. And so Junie and Carmen go outside. They see these robots, and they're like, "We got to call in the family to help." So you got like Antonio Banderas and like a whole bunch of other really like iconic, like Cheech from Cheech and Chong.
Oh, that
Machete.
Machete.
that got me.
Yeah.
Because he's his
Cheech.
uncle or whatever, and then flies off.
Yep.
But it was definitely getting like Endgame vibes though.
Yeah.
Because like they call in the family and like, this isn't enough. We need more. And they call literally everyone.
We need everyone.
And so all of the like supporting characters from the last two movies show up too, and like literally everyone has to have their like entry shot. Like,
and it shows like their names too.
Yeah, and their
for
names.
each one, because it's like mom, dad, grandma.
Machete.
Tony Shalhoub and his
Tony Shalhoub. Yeah, that was very strange.
I was a little disturbed.
That was
is-
creepy. Yeah.
I love Tony Shalhoub. Like,
But that has to be like
Monk
one of
is
his
one of my-
weirdest characters.
like Monk is one of my favorite shows. But he was too flippin' weird in this.
Because he
movie.
had like 3 heads and like 3 hands on each arm.
They weren't even like legit
just-
heads. They were like distorted alien heads coming out of his own head.
To be fair, he doesn't say a word in this movie.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah. So
We love you, Tony Shalhoub, but
be fair to Tony Shalhoub.
thank you for not having a huge part in this movie.
To be
You
fair to
deserved
Tony
better.
Yeah. So they all fight these robots, and then it's down to one last robot, and it's the one that the toy maker is in. And so everyone's like, someone's got to go up there, and Grandpa's like, I'll do that. And he rockets off in his Corinthian leather wheelchair, which has a jetpack on it. Wow.
I think a jetpack is an understatement. Like the entire back of his chair was a freaking booster.
Corinthian leather and breaks the sound barrier. I mean, it's pretty good. That's got to be an expensive ride. So he goes into the toy maker's head, like mech's head, and shows up. And the toy maker's basically like, you can't stop me now. Like, it's too late. I'm already here.
Don't stop me now, because I'm having a good time. Having a good time. That's probably what I was thinking.
Yeah, something like that. And so toy maker's like, you can't stop me now. And Grandpa's like, yeah, but you can. And basically starts to monologue about how the toy maker put him in a wheelchair. And basically is like, these are all the things in my life that I've missed. And then there's like another, like they cut to a side scene and they cut back. And it's just like, here's all the things I've actually like gained in my life though, as a result. And he's talking like humility and like spirituality and talks about all these different things. And he basically ends it by saying, look, I forgive you for what you've done, for your betrayal, that you betrayed me all those years ago. And he's like, I forgive you. And the toy maker is just like, we're good. And shuts down the game. And so his big mech suit falls apart, and Grandpa and the toy maker come out, and there's that line, it's not about whether you win or lose. And then the toy maker finishes, it's about how you play the game.
The game.
And then they do the whole like hands in huddle to family and the family, there we go, to family. And then they break, and that's the movie ending.
And the bug breaks the camera.
And there's like a little robotic bug that is Junie's pet that breaks the camera. And that's the show.
Well, that was a movie.
And there's some bloopers that are hilarious.
The bloopers were really funny.
Yeah, they were a good time.
As bad as the movie was, I do think those two messages were good though, of just like looking up to your elders and learning to forgive someone.
Yeah, and like not necessarily like just because they have some kind of just because, and I think that was clearly hinted at throughout the movie, was like just because like they're older and they can't like necessarily move the way they used to, like it doesn't make them any less valuable. Like clearly like their value is in like I mean like and like disabilities come in like all forms, like not just physical, but like even like other like disabilities, whether it's like mental disabilities, emotional disabilities. It's like you're still like God still made you in his image and likeness. Right?
Yeah. So there's definitely some beautiful messaging in there about not letting disability define your life in that way. And so and it's great because with Grandpa being kind of the core of this movie, all of the characters that are involved in like the emotional core of this movie, the toy maker, Grandpa, they are two basically A-listers. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's acting ability, to be debated, as he's an action star in a lot of ways.
But I would think he is more of people would have heard of them.
Yes,
versus
for sure.
Some of the other.
But they really did a great casting choice for Ricardo Montalban as Grandpa, because
he was definitely the GOAT of this movie.
They needed someone to deliver the emotional core of the movie, and he does. And whenever he monologues, right, you can watch his face, and it's just so good. The script is terrible, but his acting is phenomenal. And yeah, it's just I watched that movie for his performance.
I just think like the actors and actresses that they got in this movie, it's just like I think it seemed like they were just having a blast though.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I don't think they took it too seriously, but like But there's a few moments where it's like, oh, we're actually going to play this for like what it is.
Yeah. There's some, you got to stick those moments of like actual heartfelt emotion and development in there. And for what it is, it delivers them well enough.
And I think
That's a word for it.
Yeah.
I think in both cases, though, I think these are good messages to send to kids, though. Like, because I think that's an issue probably more, or that can be of not respecting your parents, basically. Like, that's one of the 10 Commandments is like
honor your father and mother.
Yeah. And like having that lesson as like one of a movie as ridiculous as this is, I think does say something.
Yeah. I don't think I would have a problem. I'd have to double check. I don't think I'd necessarily have a problem like showing this movie to kids or whatever, because it really delivers on those messages really well.
And a lot of times I would say like in movies like this, especially like superhero stuff, it's like you just expect them to defeat the villain, right? Oh, I'm gonna like fight them and like his thing will fall over and he'll get arrested or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Or
it
he'll
actually
die.
like kind of changed that a little bit at the end.
Yeah. He gets some redemption out of this. I think most notably because they don't say that the toy maker is killing people. It doesn't seem like he does. So at the end of the day, when Grandpa forgives him, he can truly kind of be redeemed in that sense and stop before things go too far, in essence. So yeah, it is a movie that I have watched. I watched a lot as a kid. I'm sorry, parents, for watching it way too many times and wanting to watch it in the 3D. And you guys are probably like, oh no, please don't. We had the version that had like the 3D and the 2D.
Yeah.
And so you could just watch it 2D. And I know a couple times they were like, please don't do the 3D. So we had to watch it 2D.
I just find this funny because like I'm actually the one who owns this movie.
Yeah, he's got the case. My parents have it at their house. I could probably take it and they would.
I love how you have it displayed and it's not even on the camera's not even there. We go.
There.
That's a little better.
But it's funny because like I don't even
That's more
know
than it
if I've
deserves.
watched it more than once, even though I own it.
Yeah, that's.
Because like
How did you come to own it?
I think it was a present.
Okay. I mean,
But when I was
To
younger,
each- I mean-
like
yeah, can't argue that. So, that being said, gentlemen, do we want to move on to our scores?
I've got a score.
You've got a score?
I do.
I kind of want to see what you guys say first.
All right. All right. I'm going to give it a solid out of 100. 47.
A what?
47.
47.
Like it's clearly the production value is not great for many reasons, but like the entertainment value, like I think because of how bad it is in a lot of ways, it's like it's one of those things that's like you watch it because it's entertaining to watch, but it's a terrible movie.
And it makes like no logical sense.
Logic.
None
I don't
of the
think
rules apply.
Yeah, logic. I don't think even exists in that movie.
So, 47 out of 100, you said that's your
Yes,
score?
that's
Okay.
my score.
For me, I would rate this movie. John and I, on the way up here, we were talking about like, what is the minimum score that a movie can have to qualify as like a functional movie? And
Good or functional? Because there's a difference.
like it just
Like you could
functional-
actually define it as a movie.
it could be a movie, right? It does
Sure.
basically like that's the minimum score that it is like a coherent film.
Yes.
Like Tommy Wiseau's The Room could be defined as like the benchmark of it is a film and nothing more, right?
That's true.
And so
Debatable.
I would rank Spy Kids 3D as a 30 out of 100, and the performance of the late great Ricardo Montalban I would rank a rich Corinthian leather out of 100.
So that's like 500 out of 100.
That's a scale. It approaches infinity, really.
Just Ricardo gets. He alone gets the infinite score.
He gets,
Yeah.
every time he spoke was was like music to my ears after being tortured with nails on a chalkboard for an hour. And maybe I'm overstating it, but he's got a great voice, and I'm sad he's not with us anymore. But
when did he pass away?
Oh, it was several years ago, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, he really is like the heart and soul of this movie, and his performance is the only one that I find any actual value in this movie.
I can't disagree with that, honestly.
Yeah. So with that, John, I'll pass it to you. What do you think?
Oh man. I think I will give it a 48.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because like the thing was, okay.
Nostalgia. I'm sensing nostalgia.
Now, guys,
no, but it's the thing is like, okay, I feel like in order for it to be like under a 40, I have to like not enjoy it. I feel like I did enjoy this movie, but there were so many problems with the story.
I think if I didn't enjoy it, it would be much lower. But
Yeah.
I had a blast watching this.
The thing was, it was so bad. It was funny in a lot of parts. And I do think I liked the message that it had, that I would be willing to show this to like kids. I don't think I would also rewatch it.
Okay. Yeah, because I rank more from a filmmaking perspective. And so for me, it's not necessarily about did I enjoy it or not, because I can enjoy a movie that's just downright terrible. You know?
True.
And I'll still rank it really low. I'm not ranking my enjoyment factor, I'm ranking the film.
But I think also like I would give it above like I think I stick with my score in the sense of like I think the acting was good, like from the adults.
That's fair.
And a few other things, and it's like and there was some nostalgia factor. I will give that.
I was gonna
even though
say.
like you're the one who's seen it the most, and you're the one who's giving it the lowest rating.
Look, I know pretty much every corner of this movie. And I can tell you, there's a lot of cobwebs.
Are they CG cobwebs?
2D polys in 3D space cobwebs. Like those kind of textures, you know, where it's like the crowds in video games, which they actually show in this movie, where like you pan behind them, but it's like paper thin, and so they just disappear.
Yeah.
That creeps me out.
Yeah, they're not even like they're not even back plane like textured. It's just like you go behind them and they disappear.
It just
Like you can see through them.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much of like games from like N64 or something where it's like they were just starting to get used to like the 3D graphics.
That's a good
And there's so
point.
many like issues with like the graphics at the time. You're like, oh, it's kind of creepy, but like I somewhat was used to it when I was a kid.
Also, I wanted to point out one specific joke in this film, and that is that one of the beta testers is named Rez, and at one point Junie says, "Hi, Rez," and I chuckled.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
I was the only one that caught it.
Wait.
Yeah, hit it with the crickets. Yep, there you go. He's just off in the corner. Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, that is such a bad joke.
With that, do we want to? Yeah. So thank you, everyone.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah. What's up?
So
The overall score.
our
yes.
overall score came out to be a 42.
Seems about
Okay.
right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that fits.
So I'm just gonna say like, I think this is our first movie that is under what 70.
I think this is our first movie under 50.
Yeah. It deserves it.
Yes.
It definitely deserves it.
If it says anything, we were trying to pick something that was a bit different than what we've done in the past.
Well,
Yeah,
we also had like we joked about doing this movie like the entirety of season 2. So we're just like, why not?
Yeah, we want to start out with
Start strong.
start strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for joining me today.
Yeah.
Talk about this movie, which was clearly my idea. And it was a bad idea.
I don't think it was a bad idea.
I think it was a great idea.
It was a great idea.
Yeah. But I want to thank all of you, listeners and potentially viewers, for tuning into this episode of the Genesius podcast. Yes, for those viewers, we are reading just off of a script. It helps.
Mine's over there.
Yeah, So if you enjoy our content and you want to hear more, please subscribe to our podcast. You can find us on most podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more, and potentially YouTube as well.
Hey.
Please also rate and review us on whatever podcasting platform you are using.
And if there's a movie you want us to talk about here on Genesius, any episode ideas related to movies, feedback to make our show better, or if you just need prayers, and if you specifically want us to give a shout out to your prayer here on this podcast, send us an email at genesiuspodcast@gmail.com. That's GENESIUS podcast@gmail.com. Like Genesius, like the saint. And if you know one of us three personally and you want to be a guest on our show, reach out to one of us three directly and tell us what movie you want to talk about or what movie related topic you want to talk about with us. Or you can also use the aforementioned email address, genesiuspodcast@gmail.com.
And last but not least, please spread the word about our show by sharing it on social media or by word of mouth. Make sure you are telling whoever you're next to about us, whether it be right at this moment.
Seth, have you heard about this podcast?
I was about to do the same thing. You beat me to it by half a second.
At your family dinner, at work, or at date night.
Ooh.
Why did we put that? Why did we put that in the script?
I put that in the script.
Oh gosh.
Or when you're asking a lovely woman for her email address.
Hey, actually, since you say that, if a woman asks for your email address, give them this one and tell her about us.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's my email address, genesiuspodcast@gmail.com. Have you listened to the show? You want to be a guest host? You want to suggest a movie?
I can't believe we made that work.
We did. Somehow. By the grace of God.
So wherever you are, make sure you tell them about us. But more importantly, pray for us as we keep making this show.
Please keep us in your prayers as we keep doing this.
As we embark on this journey.
An unexpected journey.
And don't do it. Do we have any prayer intentions for this week?
The anniversary of Roe v. Wade. So we'll put that
Yeah.
Pro-life
right.
movement.
There and the for those of you who are watching or listening to us here in the cities, at the time of recording, the March for Life is actually going on right now at the Capitol. I was invited to go, but like I did have that. We had this today.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. It is the 50th anniversary, I think it is. I think I was at Mass this morning. Father Paul said that it was like the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade.
Okay.
So yeah, that's and just kind of along those lines, just all those who are struggling in marriages or relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Those who are expecting, and those who have miscarried, and yeah, those who struggle with their own pregnancy. So,
yeah, and also just kind of in line with one of the themes of this movie, just for the elderly and that they know, whether it's through God or just through any of us, that they know that they have just as much dignity as everybody else. Like no matter, and there's anyone who's like physically or mentally or emotionally disabled,
regardless of their condition,
regardless of the condition, they are made in God's image and likeness. They have dignity. They are loved.
Yeah. And finally, for those who are genuinely seeking forgiveness, and for those who are faced with the challenge of forgiveness, sometimes it's a challenge.
Yes, it definitely is.
So we pray for them as well. So, John, do you want to lead us in prayer?
Sure. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit. We pray for all the unborn and for those with disabilities to respect themselves and for us to show them the respect that they deserve. For all those struggling with fertility and for any kind of pregnancy problems. We pray this all in your name as we pray, Our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Saint Genesius,
Pray for us. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. Well, John, thank you for praying with us. John and Seth, thank you as always for coming back and joining me this season.
Thank you, Nick, for hosting.
And thank you, listeners and potentially viewers.
Potentially.
For tuning in with us. Stay tuned next week for our first franchise episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're about to record in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And if you've been paying attention closely enough, you might know
what it is.
Yeah. But until then, we are the Genesius guys. I'm Nick.
Filling in for Kyle, I'm Seth.
And I'm John.
And this is the Genesius podcast. God bless everyone.
God bless. And now I get to actually outro us out. So I can just do this, right? Everyone's just bobbing, and then I can fade it out. Just like this. You can hear me keep talking.